Another quiet month in the Bath rental market, but significant developments further afield. Here's your latest rental market roundup. Well, I'm going to start this month's roundup by looking at the usual statistics that we look at in these videos because they give us a good overview of the current market. But to be honest, this month I'm not going to labour the point because they are very much in line with recent months. During January, February and now March, we have seen a relatively quiet rental market. That is a customary seasonal shift that we tend to see year after year. People refrain from moving during the winter months if they can. So I do expect things to pick up over the coming weeks as we get into spring and closer to summer. Actually, this month, I'd like to take a step further back and put all of this into a little bit more context. Recently, I had to prepare some statistics for a local landlord conference that we held here in Bath, and I really felt that they gave some great perspective on the current rental market. Actually, I prepared these statistics because I was invited on a podcast with Phill Spencer, but I definitely don't want to mention that because that would be horrendous name dropping, wouldn't it? So let's turn back the clock to 2019, when every month, on average, you would see 1,130 available properties go onto the market. These were properties that were available to rent in the Bath area. Skip forward to just last year, and that figure had dropped to 694. That's a reduction of available rental properties of 35%. Now, let's look at rents. So again, winding back the clock to 2020, the average rent for a property in Bath was £1,458. Skip forward again to last year, and that average rent had increased to £2,164 a month. That's an increase of 48%. So when we're looking at these monthly reports, microscopic exploration of the rental market, it does help actually to step back and look at the rental market in a broader sense. Rents are extremely high. Properties are letting very quickly because there simply isn't enough to satisfy tenant demand. So if you are a landlord bringing your property to the market, you can depend on a couple of things. One, that you will achieve a high rent, and secondly, that you will let your property quickly. Now, you might think that this paints a very rosy picture of the current rental market, but of course landlords face their own challenges as well. An increase in mortgage interest rates, higher service charges, increased costs relating to property maintenance and repairs. So that's why we've also seen a significant uptick in the number of landlords considering selling their properties. Post-COVID, this has increased by around 40%, and that is what's driven this great mismatch between tenant demand and property supply. Moving away from Bath now to the broader rental picture, there was just before Easter a significant development in the long-running saga of the Renters Reform Bill. A leaked letter from Levelling Up Minister Jacob Young revealed that the bill will return to Parliament after Easter, along with several amendments that may be of interest to landlords. The most significant development related to the nature of the periodic tenancies that the bill proposes. Now, under the original draft of the bill, every single tenancy would begin from day one on a rolling month-by-month basis, and that has not changed. A great concern for many landlords was the prospect that tenants would be able to move into a property and instantly change their minds, give notice, and leave 2 months later. Well, under this amendment, a tenant wouldn't be able to serve notice until 4 months of the tenancy had passed. They'd have to give 2 months' notice, thereby securing the tenancy for both parties for a minimum term of at least 6 months. So this effectively means that every tenancy will have a minimum period of 6 months. This amendment does at least give some extra security for landlords and protects them against the prospect of a tenant leaving the property immediately. Well, that's all for this month's roundup. It'll be really interesting to see how the Renters Reform Bill progresses when it does return to Parliament, and I'll of course keep you informed of any significant developments. Until next time, bye-bye.